boy.
Hey,
That was a
I'm
good
happy
one.
with that one.
That's
I'm
a
happy
good
with
one.
that
That's a good one. Hello, it's us again. You know we're out here.
And we're back.
We're back. Here we go. Where's that throat clear, man?
Calm.
I have to do one.
I have to wait for the thing to build up first.
Yeah,
and
now
then I can
mine's
clear it
touching
out.
already.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming back. Welcome back to the Opinion 2.0. We are out here. We have a very special guest with us today.
Yet again.
Again. Normally we give you a week to digest the last week's guest, but this week we're clapping you with guests. Back-to-back guests. So in the studio today, we have one of my good friends. Her name is Angelique, but on social media she goes by Life of Angg or Lundberg Photography.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Claps, 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 claps. Oops, I got you.
Thank
I think
you.
we're fine. I think we're fine.
There you go.
You know?
There has to be a blooper when Angelique's around.
Yeah.
That's a tough situation, eh?
Yeah, I
Really
know.
tough.
Yeah, no. It is what it is, bro. So yeah, thank you for coming out. We appreciate
No,
your
it's a
time.
pleasure.
Really,
Thank
like,
you.
you are the second female to be on our show.
Correct.
Second female.
First solo.
First
female.
solo female guest. Another exclusive.
Mm.
This is your first podcast.
Yes.
Oh,
Hey.
shit. Look at me. Look at us.
We bring them out. We bring them out.
Yeah,
Yes.
from the trenches.
You
What I
know,
mean.
the woodwork is cracking.
She came here. She came here. Car broke. She was.
Yo.
You know what I mean? Like,
Huh?
Yo.
What? You call, bro?
yeah, car broke down.
So on the way here,
Huh?
like Miki obviously phoned me and he's like, can you come at a certain time? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I stop in front of my cousin's house and I'm waiting. And the car is fine. It's on, whatever. Then I switch it off because I'm like, okay, I'm going to get going.
Mm.
Ding don't want to start up again.
No starting.
But luckily it's in front of my cousin's house. So I'm like, are you at home? He's like, yeah. Are you outside? I was like, yes. And then he came, tried to jump my car. Nothing. Tried push starting. Nothing.
Shut up.
So he's like, I'll just give you a lift. It's
Okay,
fine.
I was gonna say now, like, so did you take your cousin's car? Did you?
Oh, no.
She just left the car there.
Yeah, these people don't let me drive their cars, apparently. So
Yeah, because you stop somewhere and it breaks down.
I'm in the same car in 2020, caught on fire on my way home from campus.
You still with that car?
You see, the
Yes.
problem is the fact that you have the same car. It caught on fire.
I am a student, so that's very tough.
Last stuff, okay.
But, yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah. It was wild now. It was wild. It caught me off guard, no?
Says it.
Yeah, it caught me off
Says
guard.
it, yeah.
Yeah, life is.
But
it's
look
fun,
here.
eh?
I mean, I know Angie since like, what, 2012?
Yeah,
She's always been, not
a
risk
special
averse.
character.
Yeah,
I would
so
say.
I wouldn't say risk averse. I'd say more like attraction of risk.
Yo.
It's always risk. Whenever she's around, a camera might fall over or a car might break down. Something.
Just be very, very wary.
Yeah,
I
just don't
know.
move that much, no?
That is why I'm sitting with my hands like to the side, so I don't move.
Okay, look, to the person that she belongs to, I'm not hurting her feelings. This is the friendship we have. Yeah.
No, he even tells me like last night I was walking flat on the floor and I fell. So I fell just walking on the flat surface. We go to Canal Walk. He says, you find sinkholes in Canal Walk. I'm not taking you with me. Because I just fall, not even forward, I fall straight down. So I don't know where.
Explain me, bro.
Yo,
Kijk, maybe it's your iron, no? Maybe you need to get your
I
iron checked.
do have low iron though. Like I
Ah,
found
makes
out in my
sense.
trick.
Start lifting weights.
No, I do. Like I train so hard at the gym. But when I was like 18, I was walking to class straight from break. Then I just fell over.
Blackout, bro.
I had a blackout and then I damaged the ligaments in my left knee. So I have like a damaged left knee.
Load
from just
shedding your
walking.
face, rolling blackouts.
Nah,
Rolling,
yo.
yo.
Yo, it was tough.
And then
You're
just
starting to
covered.
work by ESCOM now.
Okay, we're saving South Africa one day at a time.
Yeah.
Yes,
no?
we know load shedding for almost a month. Let's go.
Wait till elections are over.
Yeah. So.
Tough
Yeah, you
times.
had to. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That was
you-
nicely back. Angie, thank you for coming out. So we do have a few questions we're going to ask you to obviously know, guys, the conversation itself. But if you have anything you want to talk about specifically, now would be your chance. Do you have anything you want to address? Or can we just...
Just go for it, man. Let the conversation flow.
Okay. I know these things about you, but
Yeah.
they don't know these things about you.
I don't know
And
these
he
things
doesn't know
about
these things about you. So tell us about your upbringing, where you grew up, your schooling, and then also like the area you grew up in. Like
And
this
how are
and
you
that.
friends with us?
Yeah.
Yo, that's an even longer story.
Yeah, we'll
eh?
get to that
Yo.
later.
So, originally, I'm from Johannesburg, Midrand.
Okay.
Born there, wasn't raised there. Grew up all over the place. I've stayed in Mozambique, stayed in Bloemfontein, stayed in Langebaan, Vredenburg, all over the
Jeez.
place. So, because my dad, it was literally just me and my dad and I, for I think 7 years of my life.
Shout out, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad is like, I'm a daddy's girl.
Yeah, obviously.
So basically grew up with my dad. Then my stepmom came along. She's amazing. Don't really know my mother that well. I haven't seen her since I was 7. So it's quite a...
So
Big
stepmom is
factor.
actually mom.
She's like, whenever people ask me about my mom, I always refer to her. Like, she's my mother.
Yeah.
Moved to Cape Town, I was, I think, like 9 or 10. And moved all over. Besides where I'm staying now, the last place that I stayed at the longest was Milnerton. Went to Milnerton Primary, went to Milnerton High for like 6 months. Then left, went to Postmansdam. Shout out Bossies.
Oh,
It's a terrible school, but anyway. So I
What you make of
decided,
it.
oh, let's not go there.
Yeah.
The stories of that school, I'm not included. I'm a
You
well-behaved
witnessed.
person. I just witnessed the stuff.
She was just there,
Yeah.
falling in singles.
Yeah, clearly.
It was like, yeah.
But yeah, I reside in the northern suburbs.
Yeah,
Apparently,
boy.
one of my friends told me yesterday, you guys are like aliens all on your own planet. So I'm like, I can't help it. We are just superior. But anyway,
Okay, let's not say that. Okay.
Ah,
Rewind.
you know where you
pause.
are right now, right?
Yeah, okay,
I know
You know
I'm
where
in
you
the south
are.
every day. So like, there's a best of both worlds.
Let
So,
me say this.
Yes.
Right? Growing up in the north,
mhm.
I grew up 90% of my life in the north.
Mm.
There was a small percentage I was in the plain. I don't know what that classifies as.
No, the
Southeast.
plain
Yes,
is its own
south.
country, so
Yeah,
that
I was
doesn't
gonna-
go.
the Dublin Times on
That's the
Mitchell's
south
Plain.
of the south, you know.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Is Mitchell's Plain like southwest or something? I don't know. I had a bit of a stunt of my growth there, but majority was the north. So Salt River, Kingston, X, Y, and Z. That's all north, right? But what's crazy to me is that the culture in the north is predominantly, and to the Muslim aunties and uncles that live in the north, I'm not saying you're the exception, but the north is filled with Christians.
Yeah.
Right? You see a church on every corner,
Yeah.
wherever you go. I know I come from Christian background and also the community I grew up in. There's 8 churches down at one road there in Kingston. Right? But the south, there's a mosque almost everywhere. You know, you see salat toppies. Everything is, salams. So the culture is different. And at the same time, the rates are cheaper in the north.
Yes.
The houses are cheaper
We've
in
done
the
that
north.
experiment. It
Yeah, and
definitely is.
Yeah, we've thought, because I mean, he's in the south, I'm in the north, right? We've made comparisons, and it's crazy. But I can't say that the north is superior because it's about perspective, man. Like from a cultural standpoint, like if you're a Christian and you want to choose one of the 300 churches that you could possibly go to, the north is your place.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're in the south, it's like, salute, I can go to this masjid,
Yes, sir.
I can go to that masjid.
There's at least three that's within walking distance of me. at
From
the
here.
moment. So,
I think I saw like on the way here. I think I saw like 4.
You probably
Exactly.
saw, what's the name, Habibiana?
depending from which side you come from,
Yeah,
obviously.
that's the green one at this Youngsters video that got.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Shout out Youngster, one day when we big, we'll have you on. So, yeah, you grew up in the north.
Yeah.
So, and then you went to Postmansdam, bro.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to talk about that high school because, yeah.
It was a problematic high school when I was there. From what I hear now, it's not as bad.
But it's always like that. Every time you leave like Queen's Park's also a good school now, but me so was smoking tuck when I was there.
Maybe they still do. It's just not as
It's
bad.
undercover.
You know,
Bruh, our
they
school was
just
in
don't
the-
know about
Bruh,
it.
our school was in the People's Post for a racist thing. There was a racism thing going on at our school, and the students went to the People's Post and to the Voice.
The same thing actually happened to our school. Like I wouldn't say targeted this one boy, but he was one of the many boys that was pulled out of a specific situation. And he literally went to News 24 and went to go report this whole thing. And they did a whole story on it, I think like in 2017.
2017, yeah, it was the year I matriculated. I remember that.
It was a big situation. And now that I've gotten older, like I still drive past the school when I come to campus or anything like that. And I follow them on Facebook and everything. There's so much that has changed about the culture of the school. It's no longer just a school was a Dutch reform school.
Yeah,
It's now more inclusive. They advertise so many of the sports that the kids partake in, which is I feel like is very important.
Yes.
And they have become more diverse. I don't want to now sound rude, but since the old principal left, because he was a bit of a racist. But the one that is currently in charge, he is the kindest person you can find under the sun. He treats everybody with the same amount of respect. From when I was there, he was like history teacher, I think.
You're quite passionate about this is because
Yes.
you're a teacher, right?
I'm studying teaching.
You're studying
Yes.
teaching at the moment, right? Yeah?
Yes, I study at Varsity College.
No, which year you
Oh,
in?
I'm in my third year.
Okay. So
Mm.
you're gonna be a teacher what, like next year or the year after? What's it?
Technically the year after, but I can start teaching from next year once I'm done with my practicals.
Uh-huh.
And that is what I plan to do, but I do plan on teaching overseas as well. So
Devil may know.
I have a TEFL certificate as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
the degree
So I
obviously
was-
gets you into
Oh,
more.
100%.
Yeah, it gets you better positions.
So I was about to like, yes, did nice segue there. Nice segue there, man.
This guy think I'm an amateur. Come on now.
Guys have been doing
Oh.
this for a while.
We
you
have
know.
evolved, Owens, man.
Mm.
So, like I said, you're in teaching now, so you're studying, and you said you want to teach overseas. So, like,
Mm.
firstly, why teaching, man? What makes you so passionate about teaching
Mm.
someone?
I can give you the answer to that even. Because she went to Bossies.
Yo,
And she saw how it was and she's like, no, I can't have this for the future
you
children or my
actually
children.
not. Like, when I matriculated, I never wanted to be a teacher. Like, I was dead set. My
Yeah,
mom
like-
wanted to send me to Thailand to teach English, and I said, no, don't want to do it.
Mm. So what
I-
was the dream then?
The dream was actually to be a full-time photographer, which I am.
Okay.
And that is what I do. I do it full-time as well. But I would say around 2021,
Mm.
I kind of had like a midlife crisis because at the time it's
Wait,
peak.
That's a-
midlife
that's
crisis.
a-
At 21,
that's
yes.
that's a 8th life crisis. That's not a midlife.
Yo.
That's a,
You know,
a quarter life crisis.
I know what you mean, huh?
Yeah.
It's like when you just realize, like, what the fuck am I doing, me, bro?
Not even just that. It was more like, how am I going to provide for myself outside of my parents' money and all of that? Because wherever I go and people find out that my dad is white, they immediately assume that we have money. And that's not the case. They have money. I am broke. I still have like a negative something in my account probably. I don't think so, but we'll see.
People must still pay you for that last photos you took.
All of you.
That's the photographer struggle. I know that.
Yo, it's so tough. And yo, it's one of the most difficult things to do. But
Kijk, Owens, man, pay the guy.
yeah, no.
The
Yo.
album is there. You can lick a lamb and show your family and everything. Can't you? On skilp.
Kijk,
No,
man.
seriously. And like I do everything myself. The admin, the social media, the printing, the framing, all of that I do.
Gee.
It's a one-man show that I run. But when I think like after I turned 21, it's peak COVID, like nobody's really booking shoots. Nobody's really getting married. I think for that whole year I had like 4 weddings. And I realized like I need to have something to fall back on. And my partner, my boyfriend, he is a teacher and he did not encourage me to do teaching at all. But he made me think about what I want out of life in the long run.
Okay.
And I remembered, I was like sitting with myself and I randomly remembered like in grade 6, I had one teacher that saw the best in me when everyone else like just left me to my own devices. Because I wasn't the smartest child. I was like at most, you know, I think the highest grade that I got was for Afrikaans. And it was like a 80-90%.
Okay,
The
now
rest of my
pause.
subjects are like,
This
Yo.
is an Easter egg, man. For those of you that know Angelique, no? You think you know her. But Afrikaans is her first language.
that is true.
Like, she talks like that proper, like,
Suiwer.
suiwer
I can om
Afrikaans.
te beklemtoon, like
Yes.
you would never know.
I
Apparently.
learned this late in our friendship. I was at a matric ball one year. And now I'm like, I
It seemed
greet
like I was in matric twice.
But you moet it the year after me, moes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2018, huh?
Mm.
So now I'm at this girl's matric ball. All the process there, it's a vibe changer, yeah, cool. And her mom and her dad now, obviously, we're talking and they speaking to me in English because, you know, that's supposed to be the language everyone talks first then. And here she comes out and I just hear, Angelique, I'm just like, subtitles. And then I'm like, okay, fine. And then Angelique, I'm expecting her to respond in English and then she talks in Afrikaans and I'm like, who the fuck?
So you speak that white man Afrikaans.
Yes.
That's suiwer. Okay.
Yeah, like,
That's
yeah,
insane.
like, yeah, just say something in Afrikaans.
As ek iets in Afrikaans moet sê, julle sal nie eintlik verstaan waarvan ek praat nie, want ek praat baie keer so vinnig. En ek was al gesê, miskien is ek nie 'n kleerling nie omdat ek so suiwer Afrikaans kan praat.
You
That's
see what-
lit though.
Like English subtitles.
That's so
yeah.
lit though.
And like the worst part is I have to like change my dialect every time I speak to my parents because I speak English to my dad and Afrikaans to my stepmom. And it's like we're all having this one conversation and I have to switch between languages constantly.
Kijk, do you think in Afrikaans?
Sometimes Afrikaans, yes. Then I think
Yo,
in
that's
English, then I'm
mad.
like, what am I actually saying? Like, my mom would tell the story till the day I die. She'll probably tell it at my wedding as well. I'm like 8 or 9, just learning, Afrikaans in the saver form. And I come to her the one night and I'm crying. Mommy, ik kan niet slapen, ik heb de Aunt Mary gehad. And the word is not Aunt Mary, it's Nachtmerrie. And she's laughing, like, 8-year-old me is
Cracking
crying.
herself
Wait,
up
for
on it.
I realized only now, nightmare.
Yeah.
Slow edge.
And
Crown
I
van
am
Fox edge.
crying. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this lady laughing at me? And she's like, het slaapt niet, man. And I had to go back to sleep. And she tells the story to everybody. Even like when
You
I...
had Aunt Mary's.
Yo.
I have Uncle Mary's.
But like growing up, it was like tough.
Okay.
But yeah, so
that
like...
was fun.
You could actually do like,
Afrikaans
you know,
voiceovers.
like I was just gonna say like the news that they do like in Afrikaans
Yeah.
or something, because that
Yeah.
like I always like, I wish I knew what you were
Opinies.
talking about, because it's like relevant to Cape Town and everything, because you're saying it in Afrikaans and I don't really understand.
Actually, this is a live plug. So I did Afrikaans voiceover for anime voiceovers of Afrikaans with Mr. Remington. So Mr. Remington, if you see this, you should reach out to him actually, because he's busy doing Demon Slayer and Afrikaans dubs.
Oh, okay.
And he's looking for female characters that
Nice.
speak proper Afrikaans. Because
Oh, yeah.
I was supposed to, I did a act for Kaapse Afrikaans, because I talk Kaapse Afrikaans. I don't talk like standaard Afrikaans, which is that. You know what I mean? There's different. Because apparently, according to this other girl on Jency podcast, shout out, I think her name is Amy. She's an Afrikaans teacher, and she's saying like there's different dialects of
Yes, there
Afrikaans
is.
that are official. Like Kaapse Afrikaans is
Is
a
an
real
official dialect of
Yes,
Afrikaans.
it's in textbooks.
Yes, there's Northern Cape Afrikaans. That's where you have a brei. So as jy met 'n brei praat, dan praat jy so met 'n r. Then you have Bloemfontein Afrikaans, where the brei is more predominant with the sounding of the R. So it's like brei. So they roll their R's.
Okay.
Whereas Northern Cape, it's more from the back of your throat.
Yeah,
then
it
you
comes-
have Johannesburg Afrikaans. That is the Savor Afrikaans and the KZN Afrikaans. It's all over, but
Yeah, and then
that's-
you get this Kaapse
I never knew that.
Afrikaans,
yeah.
where it's like the A's are all flat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
And
Api
and like
the-
Kaapse Afrikaans, you predominantly mostly pronounce your J's. That is what
Yo,
Cape Town Afrikaans is known for.
Yeah.
that's crazy. It's like,
It's just hot.
so how many? Wait, so that makes how many languages?
Outside of the 11, probably another 20.
But
You know what
that's
I
the
mean?
thing though, like dialects are crazy, and I didn't realize that was the same with Afrikaans, because I know with Arabic there's different dialects
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
Arabic, and it's like if a person from Saudi Arabia speaks to an Egyptian, they might say something that's offensive to the one, and they won't know because that's their dialect. Now it's the same with Afrikaans. I learned this later in my life, so it's like she just gave you the pro tips. There's different.
Yo,
That was
Yeah,
nice.
that got me.
Informative.
That's a lot.
That's a lot
yeah.
for me right now.
Yeah, man, she's like.
I speak English. I speak quite well. I speak English, and that's fine by me.
I don't even speak English. My English is
Yeah,
so
you have like your own language, which is a combination of like 2 to 3 languages.
But I take like, I'm like the Rosetta Stone. I take languages from like there's some Greek in my vocabulary, some Arabic. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's even Aramaic in my conversations. But like I
Wow.
can code switch, man. So like English for me was not my favorite language, but like it was my best subject in high school because I did AP, I did applied English. So it's like, you know, that not Beethoven, I talk that's music. Shakespeare. Because Beethoven
I
was a
loved
Shakespeare music.
English because I slept in English all the time.
You slept in English?
Yes, bro.
What do you mean you slept
You
in
would
English?
be
slept
that
in
student
English.
that I would hate
Oh
in my
wait,
class.
you slept in the English period. I was
Yes.
like, my
Yeah.
brain wasn't braining there for a second.
Yeah, I slept almost every
I was like, how do you
English
sleep in
period
another
because I
language?
didn't need to like sit and listen to a whole class on like, okay, I know this. 5 minutes, I know what you're talking about. Okay, cool, I'm gonna go sleep now. Bye-bye. And that's it. So it's like, student teachers hated me.
I think
Absolutely hated me because it's like you're doing a poem and they're like, oh, we're gonna go through this poem. I read the poem once, I go sleep. They wake me up, it's like, hey, and you're not gonna be participating in the class. I tell them about the whole poem is about and be like, cool, bye, I'm gonna go sleep again. Done. Because
you know what's crazy, no? Like with English, poetry is so lit, no?
yeah.
But so backwards at the same time.
It really is.
Like we could all read the same poem,
And
But I have
all get our
different
own
interpretations
Different
of it,
interpretations. And then the fucking writer's interpretation.
It's so
completely-
simple. It's like
Like,
the simplest thing you can
There's
find.
a poem by Dylan Thomas, I'll never forget it. Do not go gentle into that good night. Then he says, rage, rage against the dying of the light. Everyone think he's talking about sadness and pain. No, the nice daddy's dying. And he's saying, daddy, don't die.
Basically.
He's saying, daddy, don't die. But it's such a beautiful poem. And he's like,
It
you know.
really is.
And I'm like, this is my favorite poem. But to me, it was about sadness.
Yeah.
You know, like when
That's
I'm
what you
weak
get
and I
taught
want to
in the
get.
school.
So now I'm like, shout out to Miss Landl, my favorite English teacher. She taught me everything I know about English. That's the only subject I loved. And then I realized, but English is not even a real language. It's so fake. That's the thing. English comes from Latin.
Literally. It's a more like refined form of Latin, a simpler form of it.
Bro, like, you know.
What subjects are you going to teach in teaching?
Yeah.
Right. So I always said like I would really want to be a history teacher because I enjoy history. I enjoy understanding why the world is the way it is. And
I have a question on that, but go
yes.
ahead. History.
And surprisingly, even though I was terrible at the subject, a maths teacher. Like I used to get such bad marks for maths. But that was because I never understood what math actually is until you get to university and you're studying teaching or you're studying any form where mathematics is important. You finally understand what the basis of it is and why it is the way it is. And that's what I love to teach. I love teaching kids about different shapes, angles, formulas, all of that stuff.
And what grades are you teaching? Are you doing foundation phase, high
So
school?
I'm currently doing intermediate phase, but it all depends. So
What?
generally intermediate is grade
6?
4 to 6.
Okay, yeah.
But depending on the school you're at, you can go up to grade 7.
Okay.
And you can also teach grade 8 and 9 because that falls under interscene because you basically have a requirement to teach all the subjects in one.
Okay.
But you can choose which subject you would like to.
Yeah, you're going to specialize in,
yeah,
so to say.
basically.
So what are you specializing in?
History and maths
History
at
and
the
maths.
moment.
Okay,
And a
so-
bit of natural science. So we're making some
Yeah, science.
smoke
is fun.
bombs there in class, you
So
know.
I was going to ask you now about history, right? Because you know, there's a saying that goes, history is written by the ones who win, not the people who tell the truth. That's a saying.
Yeah.
So like, I found that with history, right? And this is like on a high school level. I'm talking about like the last time I did history was grade 9. So I remember doing Anne Frank and doing the story of World War II. But all we learnt about was Anne Frank.
Yeah.
We never learnt about why Hitler did what he did, what was the reason, how he did it. That I only learnt after high school when researching World War II. And also not just that, not just Hitler in itself, but also the what NATO did, what America was doing.
Context.
What
all
the
the
Japanese were
context,
doing as well.
exactly.
There was so much
So now,
context that gets left out.
and that's the thing, right? And I also, what I hated about history was the fact that I never learned South African history in my South African schooling. I only learned American history.
That's crazy, dog.
Think about it. Have you ever learned, the only South African history we learn about
about
is
the
the
apartheid.
16th of June, Youth Day, and that guy carrying that child, Victor. Is it Victor?
Steve Biko.
No, man.
No,
There's
it's not.
There's a picture of a guy running with a girl. He's by the
Yes, I
Soweto
remember, I
uprising.
remember, yeah.
Because
The Soweto uprising, yeah.
in high school, we only, majority of history, because I also only did it up until grade 9. And I don't know if you know, but I'm well older than
10
Oh,
older-
yes.
10 years older.
I've been
Okay,
told,
cool.
yes.
Yeah. So
Uncle.
when I was in high school, the history we did was mostly just South African history,
Yeah.
apartheid, and that was like it, just apartheid, and that was it.
Yeah, because apartheid being abolished was still fresh at that point in time. Right?
I wouldn't say it was fresh. It was
Yeah.
2000.
Yeah,
after
but I mean,
2000.
apartheid got abolished in 1994, right?
Yeah, it was 10 years later, bruv.
So it was still fresh, because when we were in high school, it was like 20 years old.
Yeah, true. But I
Yeah,
mean,
but-
still, but it's like so different. Like, so then, what is the goal? What is the goal of teaching history if you are, or with regards to the curriculum? What's the goal of the curriculum if they're going to change it so dramatically from
Every-
South African history to world history, and then it doesn't gel? So like the history that I did and the history that you did is completely different,
Bro,
Yeah.
like,
even though it's the
Don't-
same phase of high school.
Yeah.
You know what I
there's
mean?
people that did history like after grade 9, like you did history, right? Where they talk about the grouped areas act and a little bit of apartheid here and there, and then you must write, an essay on.
That's what I did in the UC.
You know what I mean?
They say, oh no, history is essays. No thanks.
Yeah, I took
Bye-bye.
I took almost all the essay subjects, and I regret it to this day. I took CAT, and then I dropped CAT because the teacher was racist. And then I took economics, tourism, and consumers. So,
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did hospitality, which is consumers and tourism together. It's one subject, hospitality studies, right? Then I did CAT. CAT was fun because we could have our phones at school legally and take it out whenever we wanted because we were documenting stuff for our class, for our lesson, so that was fun. But when I was in CAT, I just played COD.
Privilege.
And then I did life science.
We didn't have hospitality. We didn't have CAT. We didn't have any of that. You did maths and you did science at school.
But you
And
know what's
arithmetic.
funny though? Like, those subjects when we were in high school, they told us, listen here, these are not going to count for your scores to get into uni. But
Yeah, they
as of,
don't.
no, they do now.
Now
As
they
of
do.
2020, I think it was. 2020, they allow, so CAT now adds to your school to go to university, and so does hospitality. So if I want to go study something, which I doubt I will, then I can. But like, at that point, they were saying, listen here, so like, I was one of 10 people that did both subjects. And it's like, my one teacher still says to me, you realize your life is going to be cut off to school because you can't go study. So I said, that's all I did because I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
My mindset
You
in
have
school
your
was
own
like,
plans after high school. I wish
Yeah.
people would understand.
Nobody actually has like solid plans for after high
That.
school.
Oh no,
Okay,
I
yeah.
didn't. Definitely not.
wait, what did, I did the Hilsong Internship after high school.
So did I.
So, yeah, that was
Yo.
fun. Let's talk about that because I want Yasin to also get an idea of that lifestyle, but also like your story about we were talking off camera before the Catholic thing. So let's talk about how we ended up because we met at it. That's where we met. We met at Hilsong Church in 2012 at the youth function. And that's how we became friends. So back in I did mine the year before. I was in 2018. So when you were in matric, I was doing my internship. I dropped out midway because fuck that. Tell me about your story because obviously when it comes to religion you were Catholic first.
Yeah.
So let's start there.
So like, obviously being born into a Catholic household, we weren't those strict Catholics that go to mass on a Wednesday until 1 o'clock in the morning or anything like that. We knew we were Catholic. We knew that there was a God. But for me personally, I needed some kind of structure. And I did not agree with the fact that in a Catholic church, as soon as you walk in, there's a statue of Mother Mary where there's a little bowl of water, of holy water. You dip your hand and you make a cross. That's basically giving thanks or acknowledging all that Mother Mary went through when she gave birth to Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And I didn't agree with that because in the Bible it says you cannot idolize stuff. Like you can't idolize things that's not of God. And I thought that wasn't of God because that is something that man is bringing into the church. So I went to Hilsong the one day. I can't even remember why I went. I really can't. And then I just fell in love with how the church was. It was so free spirited. It was more relaxed. It wasn't as strict as what you would think it should be as a church.
Yeah.
So I've been there since 2012, I think.
Yes, it was 2012.
Yeah, 2012. That is also where I met my ex, and we won't talk about that's another story.
We won't talk about that.
Because that was very traumatizing.
Yeah, of course.
But I still stayed in the church because
I
I
remember
felt like that is where God wanted me to be at the time. So I stuck through it. I was a youth leader. I graduated high school. Then I did the internship, which is like a year course. By the way, they don't tell you this. You have to pay the church.
You pay them.
You pay the church to do the internship. You pay them. I don't know how much it is now, but you pay them 6,000 rand, and they tell you that covers half of your costs.
6,000.
Yeah,
Was like 7.5.
I was a first year, and they told me it's like 6. It was 6 or 7,000, one of the two.
I paid mine in installments, bro. I was like,
My daddy was just like, if you really want to do this year, take my car and go pay now. I was like, okay, why? So I did it, and it was very like difficult because I had never been in that kind of environment growing up, and I never knew like what the church environment was. So that was like my first experience of it. I had my best friend, may he rest in peace. He helped me through like the first 3 months of it, and then he left because he was a very sickly person. And it was basically like
the same person.
Kurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kurt,
So he was like there all the time,
Oh,
and
maybe
we
not.
literally did everything together. They would
Love
ask
that
us to go and do like a shopping run for Sunday. We had to go. You had to go and buy little muffins for the church or whatever.
Yo,
We
that
go
guy.
together. Where you see
got
me, you see
bleeping
Kurt.
now.
Yeah.
So
Yo,
wait,
Kurt.
before you bleep,
Yo,
because you
Kurt.
go on down rabbit holes.
Yeah, we're gonna
so,
go.
Yeah.
soon.
So let's finish this.
What exactly does the internship comprise of? Like, what exactly is it that you do in this
So-
internship that you have to pay for yourself?
So basically, yeah,
Scam, bro.
you have to work for the church for a full year, right? It's divided into terms of 3 months, so like a normal school year, basically.
Okay.
And also
So-
departments, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
departments. There's many different departments.
Can
You
we just
also
label some, no?
so it's the worship
Worship,
department,
Production,
production.
pastoral,
Yes,
Africa.
pastoral, F, yeah.
There's
There's youth. There is kids. There is photography. I think that falls
but
under
it's
tech.
under tech and production.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like
And then there was one with one of the pastors. He was from Ireland. He's no longer there. I can't remember what his department was, but there were only 2 girls that belonged to that department. And
Yeah.
I fall under the youth department because the youth and worship
you
department.
were also one of those youth worship interns. Me
yes,
too. Yo, we had
because I
double
could
work.
sing. I can't sing anymore.
Still can, man.
Anyway,
It's like riding
so
a bike.
sorry.
It's like riding a bike. You sound false for the first like few times, and then it like starts coming back.
Wait, were you also a youth worship intern? That's
Yes.
crazy. Yo, we
I
had
was a
double the
youth
work,
worship
me also.
intern. Like you had to go to church on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You get some Saturdays off, and you have to be there the whole day on a Sunday. As a worship intern, you're there from
5 a.m.
5?
or 4:30
I think that was for you. We were allowed to go at like 5:30.
because I was on production and roster. I had to be there at
Yeah.
4.
And then you only get to leave at like 10,
9, 10.
11, sometimes midnight on a Monday. And then you get a Monday off.
And that's if you're in Century City.
Yeah.
But if you're in Cooks or in Mitchell's Plain, you must stay, bro. You
Yeah,
get them later.
no. Yeah, my dad did not like that. Like they rostered me in Google later a few times, and he was like, "How are you gonna get there?" And these people don't care. And I'm like, "Daddy, just please take me. Please, I only asked you to drop me off."
Oh,
It's for
that's
my internship. You know, they're gonna
insane.
mark me absent, and I don't want to break my personal brand. I get it.
Yeah, and like basically all you do, it depends from department to department. Like the one department I truly applaud was HAF because they were the people that did the incentives for the communities. They
Yeah.
literally went out into the rural communities and they
Giving
would
out
speak
food,
to people
buildings
and
and
they
stuff like that,
they
yeah.
really were like, I would say they were the heart
Charity
of the
foundation.
church.
Mm.
Yeah, they really were the heart of the church because they did what the rest of us didn't want to do. And in, I think, the second term, you as an intern outside of that department were required to do your community service. So we did ours on a Thursday. We went to Makassar. Every Thursday, we would do our community service with the kids at the community hall. So we'd have like games and everything like that. And that is where I felt like where I was making a difference in the community.
Okay.
Mm.
But other than that, going there every day, you do admin, you are literally working yourself to the
And
bone.
you're paying them.
Yes, like you're working whole day every day. And you are doing runs for these people. You are being a pastoral person to people outside of church. You are making phone calls, like cold calling, basically customer service. You're doing that. You are sending emails, you're rostering people. And you still have to attend Bible college every Tuesday.
Okay, I
Oh.
think that was quite.
That was
That was
quite
quite.
because you basically got like an understanding of how they interpret the Bible.
And then what do you get at the end of this
A
internship?
certificate.
A certificate.
And
And
possibly-
what good does that do you exactly?
Well,
to be honest,
The
like,
possibility, that's where it changes, right? So the possibilities were different in my time, right?
Mm.
But what happens is if you do a first year internship and you get your certificate, like the quiet part is when you do the Bible study, you get to finish the Bible and you actually have a qualification. So like from a Christian standpoint, if you stay a Christian, you'll be able to teach by people from the Bible and say, oh, this
Okay.
verse says that.
okay.
Yeah.
For me, it worked in my favor because I became Muslim and then I could challenge Christians. But that's not what we're on about. We're not going to challenge anybody today. But yeah, so that's the one thing. So then what happens is if you stay in the church and you commit another year of your life to a second year internship,
Yeah.
the church might employ you and then you'll start getting paid because then you'll work for the church.
Okay.
So the people we reported to were working for the church and they were employed by
Yeah.
Hillsong.
So
they
they
were
did
getting
their
a
2
salary.
years internship and paid
Some
the
of
church
them.
before, and then they came.
Some
So,
of them.
yeah.
Basically, okay,
Basically,
okay.
There's
okay,
it's
I get
practically
you.
like doing a normal internship at another place, but
Ah.
it's just you're not paying the other places. There's an
Mm.
opportunity for you to get a job at the church.
Yeah.
Now, if you're someone who is religious, right, I can understand why that seems appealing to you, right?
Mm.
If you're someone like, I mean, your experience with Hillsong was different to mine,
Yeah.
but it's similar in the same regard because I was new apostolic, And then I wanted less structure and more freedom in the way I worshipped, my creator and so on. And then I went to this Hilsong church, bro, and it was like, yo, this is a vibe, Sinjay. Like, it's free and whatever. And music was my outlet.
Yeah.
Right? Music was my outlet. And this church was known for their music because their band, Hilsong, the band is where the church came out of. It was founded based on the band Hilsong United. Right? And this band created the craziest music. Like, worship music, there's scientific proof. This is something I told you about with Sleep Token as well. There's scientific proof that worship music is written in such keys that it literally impacts the way you think. All music is, but it's written in a positive key. It's always in majors and never in minors.
Have you ever experienced, going to church? The pastor's busy speaking and he's at the end of his sermon. Then the pianist comes up and he starts playing those specific keys. That triggers an emotion in you to be like, okay, like I can feel it in my heart that maybe this is like what I want to do.
Yeah.
It opens you up basically in a new dimension to open yourself up to the Lord, basically.
That's what their teaching is, right? So now for me again, I didn't go there for any spiritual healings. I went there because of the music. And that's how I thought things would work out. Now, giving you a bit of exclusive here, background, I later found out in my life that in every place you go to, there are always rules. And there's always things you have to do to be a part. And if you don't do those things, you end up being exiled. So now, with the Hillsong Church people, I was exiled because I didn't want to worship the way they wanted me to. They wanted me to roll my R's a certain way. They wanted me to sing with American diction, and I was British singing diction. They wanted me to play the keyboard a certain way, and I wanted to play it my way, and how I express myself. And then I'm like, you know what? They started telling me, listen, you just don't belong at this church. Now I'm like, yo, bro, isn't the church supposed to be inclusive and welcome you in, Sinjay?
Yeah.
So Hillsong did a lot of harm to my personal relationship with myself and authorities in the church. And that's when I left the church, right? Now I don't know if it's the same for you, but what I can say is that year or that 6 months I did the internship could have been the best, but they made me a youth worship intern.
Yeah.
Because I was at youth on a Friday. So we would have less off days.
Yeah.
The other interns would be, a worship intern would be off on a Friday. We'd have to do youth. Now you come on a Friday, my bro, then you must be there 3 hours early because you're now rostered to be on. Then
you have to help set up.
Then you must help set up. Then you must do
stuff.
sound checks. Then you must interact with the people you're leading, your youth kids, the people that look up to you, right? And then afterwards you must pack down. And then you go home. And then you're like, what the fuck? Then you're off Saturday. Then Sunday you must get up and go to Cooks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of work.
And
It is.
you weren't getting paid, right? And then you know what irritated me is that they were saying, oh no, you will be blessed for this. And I'm just like, yeah, I get that. And at first I believed that. I did believe that at first, but my intention wasn't true.
Yeah.
I was doing it because it was a job for me.
Yeah. It was
Understand?
another box to tick at the end of the day.
Yeah, bruh. And it's like,
And I had one experience at youth where Nick, he probably didn't mean anything wrong by this, but it was when, I can't remember her name, but she went to Australia and she did the Bible college with her and her brother. I can't remember.
you're talking about
I really can't remember her name.
the pastor's daughter.
No. She was a worship, not a worship intern, but she was one of the worship leaders. And she had come down for a holiday or something like that. And I was rostered to sing, and I was co-lead. And during the service, Nick comes up to me. He was basically our worship past intern.
Our lead. We
leader,
reported to him. in other
basically.
words. Yeah.
And he was like, so, change of plans. You aren't going to finish off tonight. She's going to sing in your place instead. Because it was now her time there and she was ready to go. So, I decided, I took it upon myself because I felt offended. I was there early. I went to rehearsals. I was there for my youth kids, everything. But I felt so offended that I just left. I literally went home instead. Because that was something that was taken away from me that I felt like I worked very hard for.
Yeah.
And you do that. And it happens a lot. They tell you, always be open for different challenges. Always be open for things that can change. Just be open for anything. And they tell you, like, it breaks. They tell you, like, in the interview, this year is going to break you down. You're going to be...
rebuild you.
Yeah, so we can rebuild you.
That's the
to
words they
their
use, bruh.
standard.
Exactly. Now,
Yeah.
if you don't want to become part of the standard, they replace you.
Yeah.
Similar thing. I'm not taking shots at Nick because Nick also left the church. Very shortly
That's just
after
like, I
left.
don't think he meant it in the wrong way, but I took it offensively.
I remember he reported to someone. right? And I think also at the same time, a lot of people that did leave, because a lot of people left Hillsong very quickly after.
Yes, a lot of people
within
did.
that years from 2017 to 2021, like people just left. And the people that did leave, we don't think bad. Like I will never speak bad about Hillsong. I'll just state facts. We all felt the same. We all felt underappreciated and easily replaceable for one reason. If someone from Hillsong College comes up, I mean, I was rostered, no? I was rostered week in, week out for keys 2, right? At Century City on a Sunday. Then I come and they're like, no, you need to go to Somerset. And then I must go play keys 1 somewhere else. And I'm like, bro, I practice to play synth. Now I must play lead. And we
Exactly. And they tell you, be open to these changes. You have to accept
it. Then a man must fuck off from Century City to Somerset with no car.
Man, we were broke at the time.
But I just left high school. Couldn't even afford to buy me edges.
It's really tough. And like, that is where I lost my respect for the people of the church. Because there was also a lot of favoritism. There was this one girl, amazing voice. Literally, she could sing anything that you give her. But she was always favorited. Because she had been singing for the church for so long. She's now in Australia. And she's doing her degree or whatever. And I don't know what. But she was always favored. And she had that kind of attitude that she knows she's the favorite.
Yeah.
And she made it known. And you would think to yourself, I'm trying my best. I am singing every week. I'm here doing vocal training.
You're putting in the work.
Yeah,
but you don't get the
literally.
opportunity.
And she's there. She comes in and she just outperforms everybody. And it's tough.
I know
like,
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, and I think kudos to the people that have talent. But I think what happened a lot backstage, because on platform you don't see this. On stage you don't see this, right? But when you're in that production room, you're in the worship room downstairs, then you realize who's actually there for the right reasons. You can see intentions of people. Now, for me, I can agree with you. I didn't have an ego, right? Because I mean, remember that time when I was playing keys 1 at youth every Friday for 7 months.
I didn't have an ego, but
The reason why, you know why they made me keys 1? It wasn't because I was good. You know what was my first choice? You know, like when I became a worship leader, my first choice was vocals. Because I was a singer, right? I learned to play keys for youth one day because Kendall left, and there was no keys player for youth. So I was like, okay, it's fine. I'll play. I mean, I can play. I taught myself, but guitar and singing was my things, right? So I did that. And then I remember they rostered me every Friday for like 7 months, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. You remember that because you were chatting on in the corner there. You were always in the corner with Cody them all. Shout out to those people. And I think like what's crazy to me is the fact that I'm playing every week, bro. Week in, week out. And I don't even get a thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't get a thank you. They just like, yeah, you have to. And then I already knew they're going to roster me. So you know what they did one day? They rostered me for the 7 months up front. But when Encounter came, when Summerfest came, when fucking Summer Camp came, I was on the worship team, but I was a water boy.
Yeah.
But every Friday, there was no one there to play keyboard. And I was playing. So I'm like, whoever chose that, that's up to them. They don't even realize that I'm happy and grateful. Because of that, I became a Muslim and I'm happier than ever now. That's my thing. Because I realized that in every church that I've been to, including Hilsong Church, there is this wanting to be better than the next person. I've never felt that way when I walked into any mosque in my entire life. And I've been Muslim now for 6 years.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. And I'm not trying to convert other Christians. Don't get me wrong. If you feel comfortable, feel comfortable. But be wary of the churches you choose.
Yes.
Because they use expressional terms to bring you forward. And then you end up getting hypnotized. I mean, you can speak about how you left the Hilsong Church and went to a church with more structure.
Yeah, because in the beginning, like I said, I craved something where I could be a bit more free in my worship. The same as you.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I realized as I got older, structure is what literally builds your character, actually. And going to a church, I go to an old apostolic church now. Not
Shout
every
out.
Sunday, but I'm there. I prefer the fully covered dresses. I prefer wearing a hat and covering my head. I prefer being in a church where you sit, you get up, you say thank you, you say amen, and you sit and you listen to the word of God. And it's not just one person speaking. It depends on the church, but the ones that I've been to, it's 2 or 3 pastors speaking or priests, and they speak with so much conviction in their heart because they take time to read the Bible, to study the Bible. My boyfriend's father is a priest, and he's actually the reason why I chose to be in an old apostolic church, because we would sit and we would have these conversations about church, and he would not degrade me or judge me because I come from Hilsong. He would actually more educate me on my own faith, and that is what I appreciated.
I think as you get older, like you said, a lot of people, I mean, Andrew Tate said this on like live, like the reason why I became Muslim was because it's the only religion that has red lines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, there are Christians, like Orthodox Christians, like Old Apostolics, New Apostolics, that have red lines, right? Even Catholics, there's red lines.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to Islam, it's clear as day, bro.
Yeah.
So that's why people like him became Muslim. And for me, it was the same. Like, I needed guidance, maybe. Like, if I needed an
And
answer.
when you're young, you don't realize all of these things until you reach a certain age. Even after 25, I hear stories of people that are like 13, they're like, I don't know what I must do. Like, they need some type of guidance in their life.
I just wanted to track back to something quickly that you said. You said that you're at the old apostolic church now, right? That's the church that you attend and so on, and that you have to cover yourself when you go to church, right? Like fully covered.
Yeah.
That's
So-
not a common practice in Christianity.
No.
Not actually. It's if people read the Bible, they would know that is how it should be. When you in the Bible, it literally says a woman should cover her head when she's giving thanks to God, when she's praying to God. She does not need to cover her head outside of that. But if she does, that is by her choice, and that is her devotion to God. That is what nuns do. When they first start off, they wear, it's sort of like a lappy basically, and then they have a structured nun
That
that covers
that hat
everything.
thing.
Yes.
If you look at Orthodox Christians, right? They even Orthodox Christian women. If you put an Orthodox Christian woman and a Muslim woman,
You would not tell them
you
apart.
wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
really
That's what I'm
wouldn't.
basically trying to get at, because
Yeah.
obviously I was born Muslim and Muslim, will continue to be Muslim.
Alhamdulillah.
You're basically just describing like the hijabis.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's why I was just like, I wanted to track back to that, because it's like,
100%.
okay, is it now only Old Apostolic that practice that? Or is it spread out amongst other sects of Christianity as well? Or is it just like here and there that you're going to find it? You know what I mean? Because it's like, for
It
us, it's like
is.
in Islam, a woman has to be covered.
Yeah.
And that's just
That's
bottom
just how it
line.
should
And that's
be.
Red
it.
line. There's
know what I
no,
mean?
Yeah.
it's red
There's
line.
no, you can if you want to, you don't
Mm.
have to, you know, it's only at
You-
certain times,
you
whatever.
Mm.
It's just, you have to be covered, and that's you know.
Modesty is important. Yeah, I think like, and this is something I've noticed with a lot of Christian, different Christian denominations is what they call it. Because Muslims, we also have different denominations. We got Shias,
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
Sunnis, we got
And I don't think people know that actually.
yeah.
They
look,
just think of Islam and then that's it.
look, we all. That's the thing. Like we're supposed to. We're
Yeah.
supposed to. That's the thing, right? Muslim scholars always say this. There's no such thing as a Shia or a Sunni. There's a Muslim.
Yeah.
And then there's different practices and cultural practices.
There's
Because
cultural practices.
yeah, and
that's
that's-
what makes the difference.
there's no like different denominations of Islam, but like the media purports that Shiaism is like, you know, the Taliban and
Yeah,
those guys.
they put
They're
it
the
as the
extremists.
extreme, yeah.
Yeah.
Extreme, yeah.
I mean, the Game Assassin's Creed
The-
is based on Shias.
The thing is with Islam, so with Islam, there are different practices that are in different schools,
Mm.
as
Of
they
thought.
call it.
Schools of
right? The
thought,
Schools
yeah.
of thought, right? But the basis of Islam comes back down to the Sunnah, which is from our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Quran. The Quran doesn't have 5, 6, 7 different interpretations
one
and different
Quran.
versions. There's
Yeah.
only one, right? There's
Mm.
only one, and that is the rule, and
Mm.
that's it.
That's it.
And every single school of thought within Islam follows that,
That
one.
one book.
That's why people won't necessarily know that there's these different, there's
Yeah.
all these differences
exactly.
in the different schools of thought of
Okay.
Islam,
Mm.
because it all comes back to that one Quran. And then nobody's going to know that it's different, because on the outside of it, it's all still following that one ruling.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
mean, if you go to a Shia mosque, you're not gonna know. If you're non-Muslim and you go to a mosque that's where it's predominantly Shia Muslims,
Mm.
you're not gonna know. You know what I mean? Same like if you go to a Sufi mosque, you're not gonna know. But like a Muslim who practices Sunnah Islam or Sunni Islam, they will know.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, we all share the same teachings. It's
Yeah.
just that there's little bit of cultural differences. But with Christianity, on the other hand, there's completely different, not even cultural difference, like black and white differences.
Really
Right?
is.
I mean, for example, if you look at like the Catholics, like you said, they have pictures of Jesus, peace be upon him, on the cross there. They got Mother Mary.
Mm.
Now, yes, we believe in the Mother Mary. We believe in the virgin birth of Jesus. That's all something we as Muslims believe in, right? But like you said, you can't worship anything else. There's no deity besides the Creator. That's what we as Muslims believe, right? So Christians, obviously, they see Jesus as a bit of a deity to a certain extent. But at the same time, every different church has different beliefs.
Yeah.
Now, Orthodox Christians don't see Jesus Christ as the Son of God. They see him as a Messiah. They don't
Yeah.
see him as a deity, right?
Because that's what he is. He's a Messiah.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I'm
stated
saying.
in the Bible.
Uh,
He's a
this-
Messiah.
And I think like some Christians have a different understanding of that.
Yes.
And
That's
they
my
do.
thing.
And
That's I won't say it's shocking to me, but it's like for you to just say that like now, like as you did now, is like because
believe he's the
in
Messiah
my
too.
in my understanding of Christianity as a whole, because I don't put Christianity in all these different.
That's
know,
why there's
boxes,
no
basically.
Muslim, Christian, Jew.
I
That's
look, it's a religion. There's one religion which is Christianity, and however they follow it differently. Same like Muslims, like I explained now. And then obviously all the differences that there is with regards to the different versions of the Bible as well. But I just figured that for me, it's like Christians look at like the Trinity, and that's basically their belief
Yeah.
system is the Trinity, and that Jesus was like the Son of God and all of these things and whatever, which is obviously not what Muslims believe. But like from what you're saying now, it's like completely goes against my understanding of it as well.
Bro, Christianity is such a deep lake. You know what I mean?
It really
For
is.
me, Christianity is, and this is gonna sound so shallow, so for the Christians, sorry, don't get offended. Christianity is a lake. There is a bottom to it. Islam is the ocean. That's how I see it, right? You don't go to the Bermuda Triangle. You know what I mean? In a lake, you can go to the bottom. You can, because lakes are they're not endless. The ocean, no one has explored the bottom of it, right? So what I try to explain to people is that if you go into a lake, there's different ecosystems inside that lake, and that in itself is Christianity. And again, I'm not anti-Christian, bro. My parents are practicing New Apostolics. My sister is a practicing New Apostolic. You know, my brother-in-law to be is a practicing New Apostolic. Like, they're in church on a Sunday, they're in church on a Wednesday, they go to choir practice on a Tuesday, they do family visits on Thursday. They like proper. You know what I mean? I'm not the best Muslim, but I am a Muslim. I go to mosque on a Friday and I try to make all my prayers every day. Right? And I lead my wife and I lead my children, X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, there's so much things that people don't know about Christianity because there's so much variations of it.
Exactly.
And I think what is important for someone is they need to do their research. I always say, before I became a Muslim, I understood Christianity whole spectrum. Right? I did Bible college at the Hilsong Church, and I went afterwards and finished it. I didn't just do one Bible. I did 4 different Bibles. King James, New International
And
Version.
there's more than 4.
The old King James Version and the New King James Version. And then
There's the English translation, there's the
But
Passion
there's-
translation. There's so
but,
many
like,
different
why
versions
is,
of it.
Why is there like... That's one thing I hear a lot with Christianity is like, there's the old and there's the new. Why is there new?
So, the Old Testament, it's divided into two
Testaments.
massive books, basically.
Yeah.
Right? So, the Old Testament is before the coming of Jesus. So, that is...
That's the Injil.
That is when God would speak through people.
Through prophets.
Yes. And they would be the ones to write in the Old Testament. But you'll also find some of those prophets in the New Testament.
Or
So-
the mentions of them.
Yeah, mentions of them. So the New Testament is where people have experienced Jesus themselves. So it's where the 12 apostles come in.
Witnesses.
Yeah.
So like what I like to do for Muslims to break it down, the Old Testament is the Quran, no? And in the New Testament is Hadith.
Hadith.
Yeah.
I get
That's
what you're saying. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
Because
of now.
for us we have the Hadith, which is obviously testaments from people
It's
about
narrations.
narrations of our Prophet, peace be upon him, and things that happened in that time from Sahaba, his companions and so on. So for me, the New Testament is, companions.
Yeah.
And even there's even people that came years after, like the gospel. There's certain parts of the gospels that, as a person who became Muslim, I don't understand, because even the way the books are written, it's like the gospel according to Mark. Like that's like me saying the sky is blue, and then you saying according to Mick the sky is blue, but you saying the sky is in green.
Yeah.
That was my discrepancy, right? Now again, I'm not trying to convert anybody, right? I'm just saying, do your research. I did research on all the types of Bibles and all the types of Christians, right? Like I researched about 15 different denominations of Christians. I went to about 17 churches. And then, there's a lot more.
No, so
There's
now I'm
really a
just
lot.
thinking, sorry, I was on my own train of thought now.
Okay.
So you got Old Testament, you got New Testament, and you have the Gospel.
Now the Gospel's in the New Testament.
Yeah, it's a part of the New
So the
Testament.
Gospel's part of the New Testament.
Yes.
And the Gospel is basically third-party accounts,
Yes.
Yes.
so to say.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If I'm
100%.
understanding correctly.
That's exactly correct.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's it. So now-
Jeez, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but-
that's
but-
just a little complicated for me.
Yeah. The
because,
difference
like,
is like-
Islam is so simple in comparison to that.
There's some
And that is what I
things-
admire about Islam. Like, I look at Muslim people and I think to myself, why can there not be this much structure in Christianity?
Mm.
And
Because that
yeah,
something that also like came to me is the fact that like you were looking for structure, and I was thinking like there's so much structure in Islam. It's like there's set times to pray every single
Yeah.
day, and it's
Bruh,
like
we
there's
follow
no
the
gray
sun, bro.
area for them.
mm,
There's like, for example, there's the morning prayer Fajr, right? You have Fajr is an hour before sunrise until sunrise, and that's the time. If you miss it, you missed it. It's
Yeah.
done. It's gone. That time has passed.
You're in
Mm.
You
trouble.
can make up for it, yes,
Yes.
but you've already missed that time slot.
you can't take it back. You can't get it back.
Exactly, that
Mm.
time has passed, and it's like for each
Allah
for
punish.
each prayer, for that 5 prayers that you have to do every single day, there is your time slot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that, like okay, and you like you're saying, like even people that are 25 plus are also still looking for that structure
Yes.
because that structure is not there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's actually so
And yet,
crazy.
look, there are Christians that find structure. I mean, this is something I've spoken to my mom about. My mom was Catholic, right? And for her, the New Apostolic Church was more free than the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church was too strict.
Yeah.
And she
it's
got
very
hurt.
strict.
She got hurt by the Catholic Church because of what transpired with my grandmother, a divorce of some sort. And then, you know, when a woman gets divorced in Catholic,
It's seen as like a sin.
it's a sin. It's probably
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z. So that's the one thing, right? And then if you look at it, the Moms for New Apostolic Church has a freedom, right? And then in your regard, Hilsong Church was freedom, but now as you're getting older, you want structure. It's
Yeah.
the same for me. Hillsong Church was freedom, but Islam brought me structure.
Mm.
And I feel like the fact that Islam is now my centerpiece, it's almost like everything I do, like you said, is so structured. Now he's used to that because he grew up with it. Now
Yeah.
for me, it's fun. Like if I learn something new, I'm like, oh, this is just a red
Just
line.
like info dump everything.
I like this. There's a lit red line. Like, oh wait, I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, like for example, I didn't know I can't wear gold. I used to love gold chains, bruv.
Look, okay, there's
Yeah, there's a certain amount of carrots.
Yes.
That's my crew, which is
Yeah.
like different schools of thought think differently. You know what I mean? But like for example, I can't wear satin. Men can't
Yeah.
wear satin, bro.
not satin, silk.
Silk, sorry, my
Silk.
bad. You see, silk. Can't wear silk,
Satin
bruh.
is okay.
Satin. Yeah, I don't like satin. Feels kind of my skin though. But
Yeah, that's because you got that rough ass.
you know what I mean?
Dehydrated
You know
ass.
what I mean? I need to eat more black seeds, more dates. You know what I mean?
Eating.
It's crazy, man. So like the thing is, I don't knock Christians because
Yeah.
most Christians speak out of a place of ignorance, and in return, most Muslims speak out of a place of ignorance. So like what I like to do is I like to give Muslims context and I like to give Christians context because I am Muslim, but I was Christian, so I was on both sides of the field. So I always explain, like for him, it's like, what? There's so many different Bibles.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, bro, it's crazy. But like the
I
key
knew there
beliefs
were
are similar.
different Bibles, but I just didn't know what
so
the
many different
differences
Christians.
are. You know, because it's like
Most
they
of the
have
time
an
it's
Old
language.
Testament and a
Yeah.
New Testament. So what did they rewrite the Bible and like decide
Yes.
like okay,
It's
this can
more
be
so
kept,
to-
this can go, this
yeah.
can be kept, this can go.
Basically, there is one book in the Bible that is not in it. It's been taken out, and it was discovered. I can't remember when, but it is released. It's a published book now that you can read. It's before Revelation. It was a book that was taken out, and I can't remember what it explains, but that just shows you like
It's very
how
close to Qiyamah.
yeah.
Tampered.
You
It's-
see, I'm gonna tell you something real quick, and this is for the audience at home as well. There was a Bible that was gifted to me. That was from my dad's younger days. If you flip through that Bible today, it's they call it apocrypha is what they call it. If you flip through that Bible today and you flip through the Bible you go buy there at that place, Kum Books,
It's
you
two different.
you're gonna
things.
find so many different things. And now the crazy part is in the Bible and the Quran, the day of judgment is recorded very similarly. Gog and Magog, that whole train wreck, it's gonna happen the same, both religions. But newer Bibles don't have the end
Yeah.
time story in it. It just says Jesus is coming on a cloud. That's
They
it.
have like a specific amount of it.
Yeah, but some parts is out.
The censored amount of it, basically.
Yeah, like for
It's
example,
redacted.
bro,
Yes.
yeah, but like the
Redacted.
Quran
Yes.
explains it. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen.
The signs, all
That's-
of the major
here's
and the
the
minor
major
signs
signs.
are in there.
This is the guy that's coming to save you. Jesus is gonna stick out and tell him, "I'm here. Bye." That's in the Bible, but the newer Bibles don't have that.
Yeah.
Okay, so before this becomes a political podcast and people start asking questions, we're
Yeah.
going to have
This
next
is
season.
interesting, man.
No, it is. This is why next season, like we spoke.
Yeah, we
I'm
spoke,
announce
we
this
spoke
right now.
about it.
We're gonna be doing a religious segment.
Yeah.
Ooh.
For a few episodes within next season. So of the 10 episodes, there may be 6 episodes that's dedicated to religion, not to Islam only. So we're going to try and get an Islamic scholar on or an imam. We're going to try and get a Christian pastor / scholar on that has a theology degree or something. And we're going to get a rabbi. And we're going to talk separately with him, and then we're going to try and do a panel with him. So we can understand the differences. Because what I always say, and I say to my father all the time, we are more similar than we are different. And that's what it is. And I think the most important part is that we need to stop being ignorant.
Yes.
I love my religion, but I will never force Islam on the next person. I will leave them with I'll answer their questions, but I will never go challenge a Christian and say your Bible is corrupted.
Yeah.
Read this Quran, it's better.
And that is what a lot of older Christians do, especially like
Bible bashers, bro.
sure they are so terrible.
And all the Muslims.
But it's like
the Christians. The Christians.
But it's like-
easy thing.
it's
ignorance.
and it all falls down to like the most simplest example you can give is the whole tattoo debacle in Christianity. That is a big
Wrong.
division. It's such a big division
What
from
tattoos?
Tattoos
Yes.
are wrong in general. Haram in Christianity also. Forbidden. And I was like, yeah,
no,
you
but
know.
you were revert.
Yeah, but still, I'm
No,
free.
aside
I'm
from that,
safe.
was he not Christian before?
He was, but the thing is,
I got most of tattoos when I was an atheist.
yeah.
This is the only one I got when I was a Christian. I got it cross on my middle
Yeah.
finger.
But it's like you look at the Bible like I have a lot of tattoos. I have 12, but you won't say that I have any of those because I'm always covered. People don't know that about me. But
Now they do.
yeah, like I have 12.
Hey.
It's yeah.
You figure out where they are. Use your imagination.
It's not like that, eh?
Hey.
No,
Anyway,
Whoa.
but-
You said I was just making a statement. 'cause
Whoa.
the one that I recently got is like behind my ear and it's a palm tree. That is the one that I'm most proud of because like it represents stability and like that is what
Oh,
I
hey,
got.
palm trees are
Yes.
kak to cut out. I've
They
tried.
really are. But I digress. So it's like people always refer to this one passage in Leviticus. But if you read further down in the passage, it says if you embark yourself with that of another deity, that is what people are referring to that is wrong. So if you have, like, as a Christian, if you have something that is related to, let's say, Satanist or satanic rituals or anything like that, or Judaism or Hindu, anything like that, that is wrong. And people tend to only see that as a generalized term. But you're right, having tattoos is wrong in Christianity. Your body is a temple. You should not harm it. It's a place. It's a vessel for yourself. And understandably so, you can do whatever you would like. I'm not saying now you guys are like wrong because I have a lot of tattoos as well. I have piercings. I do whatever. But at the same time, build your understanding of it.
We
man.
all sin differently.
Yeah.
man. And I'll say this, right? If a Christian person, like I always would say this, like, because I was very rebellious. I got tattoos to be rebellious. And it was like, it was an insecurity thing for me, man. I got tattoos because I wanted someone to talk to me and
be
look
like,
at something
"Oh."
else. Instead of looking at my big nose or my buck teeth, look at my septum piercing or my stretches and my tattoos. You know what I mean? But as I grew older, I realized like I don't regret getting my tattoos, but I know I'm gonna have to explain to my Muslim daughters when they're older, listen, the tattoos are not okay, it's haram. But daddy
have.
daddy was not a Muslim, daddy was a non-believer, and daddy got tattoos, it is wrong. I don't have to remove them.
Yeah.
I can if I want to. Right? And I explained this to someone. Christianity stipulates you shouldn't be getting tattoos, not only because of the worshipping of the dead, but you shouldn't be getting tattoos of pictures. Because
Yeah.
pictures shouldn't be going in the temple. Their own Bible says that. And some churches have pictures of Jesus in it. So
Yeah.
explain for 10 marks, Catholics.
And that is where like the conflict comes in between different
And
types
I mean,
of
in
Christians.
Islam, we can't have pictures in the mosque. There's no pictures in any mosque. Like I was even told one day, and I took offense for a second, but then I realized this guy told me I must cover my tattoos when I came into the mosque. It's not because I have tattoos; it's because I have pictures of animals with eyes on,
Yeah.
and I have pictures on my arm. It needs to be closed. Because if I go to Saudi Arabia and I go into the Prophet's mosque in Medina, they're gonna tell me to cover my tattoos because it's pictures. It's not allowed in the mosque. It's not because tattoos.
Or like,
if you are river, tattoos are haram. Nah.
Yeah.
Because even some Muslim people have this understanding. You know how much people has come up to me. Die tattoos say moet het afhaal. Allah says. Then I'm just like, no, you're wrong.
my
Thanks.
grandpa did that to me, like when I got my big one. He
Yeah.
was like, he looked up to me and he's like, ik ga een mes vat en ik ga het afsnijden. And I'm like, you can't do that. It's there for life. He's like, but why would you go and ruin your body like that? And then now that I'm older, I'm thinking to myself, yo, this man was actually right. Because like, I don't regret it, but I wish I would have waited at least before I got tattoos.
How old were you when you got your first tattoo?
I was 19. I literally got it on my 19th birthday.
Okay, yeah,
But that one
I
was
17.
that was a
Yeah.
kind of a tribute to my dad and my stepmom. So it's a wildflower with my dad and my stepmom's name. So that was like what I genuinely wanted to get. Because I felt like they've done so much for me in my lifetime and I can't repay them back.
Yeah.
I really can't. No matter
Yeah,
how
yeah.
much money I plan on giving them, building them, I can't do that. Like
You know what's
parents are
funny?
the salt of the earth. They really
100%.
are.
100%. You know what I find crazy, no? It's like there was a toxic quote I saw. It's like, I can't repay anyone. I don't want to forget someone. I'm just going to tattoo them on my skin.
But that is what a lot of people do.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not
what
going
a
to
lot
talk
of
about my
people do, yeah.
tattoos because,
No, no.
it's un-Islamic. I'm Muslim now, but you
Mm.
know.
Mm.
You know the stories of each of them.
But
Yeah.
you can have
Um,
them removed though.
I can, but I'm not going to because it's going to leave scars. Very bad scars. That will leave the shape.
Not really.
No, it will. Because my tattoos are more done with like thread needles, so it's very deep. It's like in my fifth term. I went to get a consult.
Wait, isn't tattoos like all not? I won't say all the same, but I mean like
No.
It
it's the
depends on
needle
who
in
you
the
go
skin
to.
and the
Nope, it's
the
different.
ink
It's
is-
really
So-
all who you go to.
So I went to a tattoo artist, and the conversation we had was that I'll be using a certain type of needle because I wanted permanent tattoos that cannot be removed by laser. Right? That's what I want. There are some. So if I get lasers done over this, it will still leave the shape of burnt skin on my arm.
I get
It
you.
won't change.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
get
yeah.
skin grafts.
Yeah.
So it's like that's I was going to when I became Muslim. It was the first thing I was gonna do, but then I was like, I don't just have tattoos here. I have on my back also. So it's like that they don't see. You know what I mean? And some crazy tattoos I have on my back. Let's not talk about it. Got some. I did get some tattoos removed though, other parts of my body. But I'm just saying at the same time, like you don't have to remove it. But like my finger ones, I really want to get removed, man. Like I really do. But it also has a lot of meaning to me. So it's like the crazy thing about tattoos is people don't realize that it's actually an omen. You're not supposed to do it because it kind of creates a memory of something, and unconsciously you're making that entity a deity. That's why tattoos are forbidden across all religions.
Exactly.
So do your homework.
Yeah.
We're gonna segue. We spoke in the week about Gen Z being a problematic generation.
Yes.
And you and me both agreed that we don't feel that we should have been a part of this millennium.
Oh no,
of
100%.
generation.
Like I look at my kids in class, or I look at my fellow peers,
I was
and I'm
going to
like,
ask you from a
I
teacher's
want
perspective.
to more you actually, because why are you so stupid? Like yo,
Ignorant.
yo, it's so tough. It's so tough
Yeah.
because like I grew up. By the way, my dad is 64. He's turning 65 this year.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a very like old school house. So you do something, you do it right, or you don't do it at all. But don't complain if you don't get your way. So like there was that kind of structure at home. And I appreciate my dad for it. My dad is like my best friend. I really love him to the ends of the world. But I kind of wish he was a little bit more stricter on me. Like just a tiny bit.
Rewind, say again. You wish your
Yes.
father was more strict.
Yes, I do. Because I feel like if he was, especially when I got older, like allowing me to do all these things. I did the internship. I did a realtor course. I did the TEFL certificate. I did so many things to get to where I am today. I wish he would have just said, make up your mind,
Do
choose
this.
something, and stick with it. Because you like now he tells me, you're not going to waste my money by going to do your honors. You must pay for that yourself. And I wish I had that kind of influence when I was younger, especially when I was younger, being it just me and my dad.
Okay.
And yeah,
There's a statistic that goes
let's hear
about single father households. They're more the children that have come out of single father households are more successful than single mother households. That's crazy though.
Hey, things are
One
looking
day.
good for you.
I hope so. I hope
Better
so.
That's the thing that I've learned this, no? Like a father's impact on a daughter's crazy, and you can speak about it firsthand. But you had a question. It's buzzing
Yes.
Yeah. Like the thing is like, I know what you're speaking about, but it can go both ways because I got that. I got that you need to make your mind up, you need to stick with it now,
Mm.
right? That was immediately after high school. And it felt forced,
Mm.
and I didn't finish.
Okay.
Because of the fact that, because there was that strictness,
Mm.
and there was that pressure to, okay, I have to do this now, and all of that, and
Mm.
I didn't finish. And it was more than once, okay, there was different reasons for other times
Yeah.
as well. But I mean, for that first time, it was also because, like, I wasn't sure yet,
Mm.
but I had to just make a decision
Yeah.
and stick with it. But I still wasn't sure, so it's like, I don't know if it is what I want to do. I don't know where I'm
Mm.
at. I don't know where I'm going with this. And it's like, maybe if I had a bit of freedom at first,
Mm.
I could have come to that conclusion on my own
Mm.
instead of being forced into it and then feel the pressure and then, you know, not be able to cope. Or whatever.
Understandably so.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
Mm.
there's a flip side to the coin.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So
That
it's
was
like,
so nice now. Like, completely two different stuff. That's nice. I like that.
But it's true. Like,
it's
I
crazy.
listened to how my dad would always tell me stories about how he grew up and how my stepmom grew up. She is the only girl out of, I think, 4 or 5 boys. So she got a lot of the special treatment in a way, in a specific way. And she is the same as me. She wanted to be a graphic designer. She enrolled, she started studying and she never finished because she found that she has a passion for numbers. Ended up studying to be a bookkeeper. Didn't finish because she found that she had a passion for cooking. So they have a food truck, we sell food. That is what we've been doing since I was 9 years old. Like, when we first moved to Cape Town, we were broke. Like, my dad and I and my stepmom, we were so broke. My dad used to stand outside of my school, Vredenburg Primary. He used to stand out there. He used to sell pompies for 5 rand.
yeah,
He used to sell burgers for 20 rand.
was the apple movie?
Apple pompies.
Yes.
The
5
classic.
That's
Five
how it's a
rand.
success.
Wait.
This is the apple bumpy.
5 rands crazy though,
Yeah.
Mr. Lundberg.
Yes.
5 rands
It's
crazy.
Landberg, by the way, just saying. Landberg.
Yeah, I say it like that because of the...
Get your mind right now. Get your mind right.
I know, I do it on purpose, man. But
But
I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
5 rands crazy.
Yeah.
But hey,
So like it was that time of our lives when things were really difficult, but they saw through, and that is what they found out that they love doing. So once a month we at Kilani, we work there. Our arse is off. I don't work there as much anymore because I study, but my parents, that is why I feel like I can never repay them back for all the opportunities they were able to give me.
Yeah.
does
Because
the food truck have a social media?
it had a Facebook, but my mommy, she doesn't do anything with it. My mommy is so indecisive with what she wants to do, but
We'll get
anyway.
back to you. with
Yeah,
that.
we'll get back to you with that. Don't worry.
Yeah. So like, but
know?
that is where majority of my parents' income came from. Mind you, my dad was like 50 something when we moved to Cape Town. 50-year-old white man cannot get work that quickly. Because a lot of the time, companies are looking for BEE employees. They're looking for black, colored,
That's
minorities,
facts, bro.
everything.
Kijk, it don't
Because they
even
want to
stop
cater.
there.
They yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that's not. I said this before.
Mm.
BEE doesn't allow any other race besides the black community to get first preference to jobs.
Yeah.
Colored people don't benefit from BEE.
We really don't.
Let's just talk facts here. Our government doesn't
We've
benefit.
never benefited, unfortunately.
If you
Yep.
and it's just it is what it is, bro. Like we've always just been in the middle,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm just stating facts here. If it offends you, it is what it is.
Yeah,
Go-
privilege
go-
went from, we saw the privilege over there and it just jumped past us
Right,
and went
right.
over
It
there.
really-
and that's
Bro,
It really
there
did.
was never
Like,
there's white privilege
um,
and there's black. There's no colored
It-
privilege.
Colours are
really
just standing there like, yeah,
why we have
no
colour
privilege
culture.
maybe here, a little bit privilege here, no,
Uncle, don't you have a tour in? That's where we were.
Sure.
Bro, like,
That's
and you
so
and
true.
understanding like where color culture come from. There's so many different forms of color culture. The same as Afrikaans. There's a Cape color culture. There's Bloem, Joburg,
Yeah.
everything. But like for me, I never knew what colored culture was until I was like
Brian,
21.
you like actually a colored, no? Like,
I'm actually colored, but I don't feel colored. Like my
like-
dad is white, my mom is black. They made me literal colored.
literal.
But
Like Trevor Noah.
a lot of people don't classify me as a colored because I don't fall under the generational color term, basically. So
Yes.
like where you have family that is colored and you
Yeah.
have all of these things. I'm there in the middle and I'm like, quite
Hey,
lapis.
she's white.
I'm
You're
just-
quite lapis.
Yeah, quite lapis. I don't know what I must do. I'm just here and I'm living life. I'm
You
trying
should
to
become a
find my
comedian
way.
Then. You know, see how Trevor Noah does the thing well.
Yeah,
I mean, I am a bit funny, but not that funny.
Yes, in Bonds when you see this
You know.
jive funny competition. You know?
My type of fun is insulting people and people find it offensive, but that's not my problem.
That's funny.
Exactly.
That really
though.
isn't my problem.
Like, people call me misogynistic, people call me racist, people call me all those things because I insult people.
Oh no, I get called racist all the time, but I'm only racist to those
But
who were
you
racist to
can't
me
be
first.
racist.
you
Mus.
can't
You
be
can't be racist to
racist.
white people.
Kijk, no.
What do you
can.
mean you
Wait,
can't be racist
No,
to
you
white
can't.
people?
Rewind. Kijk, you can. But here's the difference. Everyone can be racist to any race. Right? But at the same time, a person who's like, if I put you in a room with your birth mother and your father, your dad is white, your mom is black, you are
Exactly.
colored. So you can make black jokes and you can make white jokes.
Exactly.
And you can make colored jokes because you are colored. We're in the same color. Whereas I grew up your massa, colored culture, Cape colored, Cape flats. But if you see me with my deceased grandfather, you'll think because he's dark skinned, right? But my great grandpa was also colored.
Yeah.
My other grandpa was white, like green eyes, white Southgate,
Yeah.
British white.
And to make it worse, my mom is foreign, so that's like another
Do you know what I
factor.
mean? Like-
That's just.
So you can be
Yeah.
xenophobic also.
I mean,
You know what I mean? Like,
I am. I'm not going to deny it. I am. Like, I will speak to my dad and I'm like, you fucking white people now, you irritate me. Like, you really do. Like, because I will see something. Like, I've experienced this so much. I go to the spa by me, and I stay in a predominantly white or a wallet, which is the white colored. Yes, the wallet. That is where they try to be ghetto. They try so hard to be ghetto.
Then we want to
Oh
fix the
my
concepts, man.
word. It is so bad. But then you see, like, you get the wallet people, you get the Boer people, and then you get the posh white people. And I think to myself, as I'm walking into the shop, I'm like,
They all drive Hiluxes, but some of them say, "Ah, we maybe," and others like, "Yeah."
exactly? And I'm like, just shut up. Just keep quiet, please.
Hey, bro, what kind?
And like, there's been experiences that I've had in just that little spot to go and get bread and milk, where white people are so judgmental of my skin color or of my hair or of my tattoos. And I look at them and I'm like, now what's your fucking problem? Like, actually, can you not? There's been instances where a lady, she stopped me. I was on my way to campus. She stopped me in the middle of the robot because I had to make a turn to go to Varsity College. And the robot, it gets congested very quickly.
Oh, they went Noah Park.
I think so.
Yeah.
So she comes in, she now cuts me off as soon as I'm making a turn. So she pulls over to the side and I pull over next to her and she's like, you people can't make turns like this. When she said you people, I saw red because I'm like, what's a you people?
Who's
I
What
this
was-
is a
you
you
people?
people?
Exactly. And then I
Who's
told her, nobody told you to drive, so go colonize other places, please.
Oh, wow.
And then she's like, I'm going to phone the police. And I was like, it's fine,
Thank
phone
you.
them. Tell them I moored you also. When you're done, tell them I'm going to moor you in the process before they get here. And then she just like drove away. But that is like,
Racist, assault, skin.
but that is like what I've come to know as a colored being in Cape Town. Like, understanding that this is what the colored is this side. Back home, Joburg or Bloemfontein, colored is not like this. The colored there is more ghetto than the colored you find in the posh areas. Like,
Yeah, no.
it is bad. Like, it's so tough. But
But
like,
there's a difference also between South Coloured and North Coloured
Exactly.
here in Cape Town.
exactly.
Maybe we like
It's
he's a South colored and I'm a North colored. I'm way more verbal and aggressive with
Sure.
my words.
So,
They
you
just
really
drive
are.
polos.
Okay, let's not go
No,
there,
I'm
please.
joking. Nah, but we spoke about this before. Like, it's a starter pack for the South is, polos. Starter
Either like
pack.
a AW or Golf 7, something like
it's
that.
either GTA or polo.
Yeah.
Oh,
One of the two.
Nah, but they've upgraded. There's now Audis in the mix, just so.
You're in
you
there,
know.
you're in there. And you're obviously the PMs, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
and
know.
then you get to the north, and it's just Mark 1s everywhere you go.
Mark 1s and Hiluxes.
Yeah,
Yes.
shame they're only getting the Mark 1s now. No, Mark 1s is phased out here already.
That's
in the
kak
south.
funny. Yeah, we always get the sloppy seconds.
Mark 1s is long phased out
That's
here in the
kak
south,
funny.
my guy.
But it is kak funny, no? Even like when it comes to franchises of places.
Yeah.
The north is always far last. We got halal butchers last. You know what I mean? We got cars. Everything's
It
lost.
all links also.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back here, no, because of the fact that a lot of the coloured culture is influenced by Muslim people.
And
Mm.
Malay, yeah, the Malay.
That
people.
is
The
very
Malay
true.
people.
And like
And
people
that's
don't.
why it's the trend itself, for example, would start in the south and then move to the north because there's less Muslim people in the north.
Yeah.
It follows the wind, man. The southeaster.
You
You know what's kak, buddy? No, this is a side note before we close the show. Sometimes it's raining and I'm like, what's price? It's raining by you? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. In 10 minutes it'll rain here.
Yeah.
Literally 10
And I'm
minutes
That
later.
happens.
in my office at my house, I have a skylight, man.
Mm.
So we will be on the phone. I'll be like, my bro, kijk, is it raining? He's like, oh, bro, it's storming here. Then I'm like, okay, cool. In 5.5 minutes, I'm just going to close that skylight.
Mm.
Then he's like, bro, it's been 5 minutes to close the skylight. And as I close the skylight, the other water comes.
That happens
Legitimately.
all the time. Like before I go to campus, I don't check the weather for when I'm at home. I check it for when I'm in the south. Sorry, because I study in Newlands, and I know that if the weather is kak there, it's going to be kak when I get
Like,
home.
You get home?
Literally, so then I check the weather, but then I'm like, okay, it says there's gonna be like 19, 18, and then I leave the house in a jacket. And my dad's like, why are you wearing a jacket? I'm like,
But
"Daddy,
I'm going to a different time
I
zone, bro.
know why I'm wearing a jacket.
Different area code, different weather code. So,
No, really.
fuck. Angie, it's been an hour and 20 minutes. So, we like to close
Yo,
the show.
really?
Yeah, we'd like to close the show, with a simple question. If you could have changed anything in the last 3 years, what would it be and why?
Like about myself.
Anything.
Oh, about
Anything,
me.
your situation, your
Wait, before we talk about that, like
Mm.
this is something because we're all pro-Palestinian here,
Yes.
right?
Of course.
When you see this episode, it will be 2 weeks old,
Yeah.
but Iran is doing the things.
I was listening to that on the radio before I
But
got here. I
I-
was like, yes.
I watched it transpire from
Mm.
10 o'clock last night, and I was up until 5 this morning.
Mm,
I had Al Jazeera on this screen, Twitter on that screen,
mm,
and I was just watching everything. And the Twitter account that I follow for my updates is BRICS official. It's the official BRICS
mm.
news alert account. The reason why I follow that is because Iran is part of BRICS.
Yeah.
And obviously Russia's backing Iran. So all I'm saying is, everyone's saying that this is to do with some other attack, but it's going to result in, this is now, for the future, if anyone sees this, World War III is coming.
Mm.
That's all I'm going to say. And I believe, personally, with all the things going on, that we're going to see a free Palestine at least in the next few years.
Of course. To come to that, I actually saw like
Yeah.
this interview of, it's one of the Hadid sisters, so they originate from Palestine.
Yes.
And she made the statement that Palestine is free. It's the people that are around that are oppressed and that wish to oppress the free. They are trying to
That's crazy.
influence what can happen in Palestine. It might be over something such as land and as water or not water, oil and whatever. But the end result, the end repercussion is leading to a greater mess. There are kids that are literally dying. They had to close the school year in August last year because there weren't enough kids to send to school. How do you, like, in your functioning mind, how do you sit with that and think that is okay? Kids are God's greatest gift to this earth through people.
Yeah.
They deserve a life where they don't need to worry whether or not, if they're walking home, their friend is going to get bombed next to them or anything like that.
But I
And it's
shot that.
scary.
It's crazy.
And I had the conversation with somebody of an older generation. She's like 49. And I told her, I made a statement that this is worse than what apartheid was for South Africa.
Yes. It was.
And she
yes.
said, no, you can't say that. You can't make such a statement because you were never in apartheid. And I said, but I'm seeing what is happening in Palestine. I'm visualizing from an outsider's perspective. Because remember, during apartheid, Palestine was one of the few countries that backed South Africa in the abomination of apartheid. And that is when Nelson Mandela said, South Africa will never truly be free until Palestine is free as well. So understanding that we are all, like you said, we are all interconnected with one another.
Oh, yeah.
So having people that are oppressing others because of their freedom is something that you as a person need to analyze and think to yourself, why am I going to McDonald's and supporting what the IDF is doing by buying a Big Mac because it's convenient? Or why am I going to Zara because their clothes are nice when they made a public display of what is happening in Palestine in favor of the IDF?
Yeah.
So it's like stuff like that people need to educate themselves on, and
I
that
think
is
it's
where like
ignorance, man.
it really is.
People have blinders on.
You know what?
Selectively have blinders on.
I think
They
I
do.
think what I saw, it's a simple thing. Now the boycotting thing, I have a very strange opinion on that, so I'm not gonna speak about it because then people's gonna tell me my massa. I don't listen for that. So all I wanna say, it's like man,
Yeah, I know you don't.
fuck,
Yeah, I get you.
you know
yeah.
me. Yeah.
I know the feed. Yeah,
you know
I know
us.
exactly. what's
I
gonna
think what people need to understand is that we couldn't say these things on YouTube
Yeah.
a few months ago because the media platforms or the MSM, the mainstream media machine, as a certain somebody says, is controlled by certain narratives.
Yeah, so
And I
they
think
censor a lot of the stuff.
That number one, but also you get into serious trouble for speaking about things. But when South Africa stood up and took
They took
the
Israel to court,
occupied Palestine occupiers to court, that changed a lot of things for South Africans. And my saying to every single South African, if you can sit there, no, if you can sit there and actively say that there is no genocide happening in Gaza, then you need to really, really take your head, no, and knock it against a wall until you start thinking properly. Because it is clearly backwards if you can sit there and not see what is happening. And I'm not talking about the news you're watching on the TV.
Because remember, that is also sensitized to a
Yeah.
certain
Who
extent.
controls the media? You need to understand something. The battle and the genocide hasn't been happening since October 7th when Hamas...
It's been happening for
Bruh, it's
decades.
been happening since like 45 years, bruh. 70 years almost.
Since Mandela was still alive.
Bro,
Exactly.
like I spoke to someone, one of these punks by the masjid one Friday. I think it was in Ramadan, and he said to me, his grandfather or his father, his father went on a trip, and obviously he went to the Aqsa, to the compound. It was part of that time. If you went on Umrah or on Hajj, they let you go to Palestine, also to Aqsa. And he said, like, at that point in time, they were protected because they were coming to the Aqsa. But the road to the Aqsa was filled with dead bodies and rubble. And that was like in the 80s.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So what people need to understand is you need to look at, like you said, people's opinions, not the news. And there are also news channels. Why would Israel ban Al Jazeera from reporting in their country? Because Al Jazeera was giving an unbiased take of what was happening. Right? And then when they were banned from Israel, they then became Palestinian supportive. Last night I'm watching the Al Jazeera channel, and the lady in the studio says, okay, we have someone in occupied Palestine reporting live. They didn't say we have someone in Israel live. They said we have someone in occupied Palestine in Tel Aviv reporting live what's going on with the rockets in Iran. And I'm like, that for me is a win. And it all started when South Africa took Israel to court. Has a lot changed. The genocide's gotten worse since we've taken it to court.
It's almost like it aggravated it at some point.
I mean, Netanyahu's a crazy guy. Like, he made statements that are completely inhumane.
Yeah.
And I think that what happened there was that it aggravated them. But Israel don't even realize that their attempt to get the feelings and support of the global network of people was a backwards move, because they publicized Hamas on the 7th of October, and that's when it all began, and the world saw them for who they really were.
Exactly.
They shot themselves in the foot. And people don't even know that Hamas isn't Palestinian people. Hamas are Iraqis.
Exactly.
They're from Iraq. They're one of the military wings in Iraq.
And a lot of people don't understand that Palestine is not a Muslim predominant country. There are Christians, there's Jews, there's everything there. The same as in South Africa.
Yep.
But people like to classify it as an Islamic war because of the stereotypes
And the stereotypes,
that has been given to Islams. And it's crazy to think that people are so comfortable with saying that, oh no, what Israel is doing is okay because they started first, when that is not the case. There was only just retaliation to what you have done to us, and that's obviously going to happen. If you see two children fighting or one child aggravating another, one is obviously going to attack at some point.
They might get getrapped here and there for a paar years, a paar minutes. And then, this is what, my daddy made this joke with me still. He said, Kijk, if I'm going to smack you the whole day, every day for 7 months.
You're going to
The
smack
day
me
you
back
turn
at one
around and
day?
smack me back, and I lay and cry, they're going to take my side because they
Exactly.
saw your retaliation.
Exactly.
So I'm saying it's a simple thing, bro. Like, Palestine, like you said, it's not a Muslim it is predominantly Muslim, but there are Christians
Yeah.
and
It's not
Orthodox Jews
just
that live there.
Muslims. Yeah.
You
Exactly.
understand? There's also even atheists that live there.
exactly.
What people need to understand is that it comes down to the understanding of, there's a certain politician that's out and about now. I'm not going to still say his name because I don't want to give him clout. He's saying he supports Israel and that anyone that supports Palestine is terrorists like Hamas. And he's saying that we need to support Israel because our Bible says this. Let me give you a teaching real quickly, sir, if you ever see this clip, and everyone else that's a bit backwards. The teaching that you need to support Israel is based on the name Israel. Israel is mentioned in the Quran. The name Israel is a name given to the prophet Jacob. Israel means child of God. The state Israel was born in 1942. A young history lesson. And that was when Adolf Hitler was doing the Holocaust in Germany, and people flee. They fled, Jews that were in Germany, they fled for their lives, and they gave the Palestinians, hosted them, and said, yeah, you can have this space. And that's where the name Israel came from. But the actual term that your Bible is telling you to support is actually Philistine, which is Palestine. If you go look at the Bibles that were printed before 2001, it is referring to a place called Arabia and Philistine. My father's Bibles that he has says Philistine. They say that Jesus walked and did works in Bethlehem. He was born there in Philistine, which is Palestine. So you can't tell me that your Bible that you're reading, Mr. Minister, if you ever see this, is clearly reprinted. Because the term Israel, like I said, the Quran has Israel in it too, but Israel means child of God. It was a name given to the prophet Jacob. Just like Christians have different names for Jesus, Son of Man, the Holy Son,
the Messiah,
the
Savior,
God's
all
favorite,
of
the
these
Savior, those things. All the different prophets had different, names, different, titles. And the prophet Jacob, or Yaqub as the Muslims call him, and one of his nicknames was Israel, child of God or favored by God. That's what Israel means in Aramaic, Arabic, and a little bit of Hebrew in there. But it all comes from the Arabic language in the first place. So what you need to understand is, do your proper research, man. That's for all of you at home. Do your proper research, because you can't sit there and say you're supporting a country. All that stuff is being debunked. There was never children. Hamas didn't blow up anybody in regards to that. There's no tunnels. Those tunnels that were built there were the same tunnels they found in New York.
That's crazy.
So you tell me who's building tunnels.
Lol.
How can a Palestinian child that have no shoes build a tunnel with what equipment?
With a spoon, Sika.
Over the past 70 odd years that they've been occupied, they've been taking it with that spoon.
Maybe,
You know what I mean?
maybe it's that child's great-grandchild that did that.
Yo,
So
wild.
can you understand that? Look how stupid that sounds when we make that conversation. In what world does that make sense? So you decide, we definitely pro-Palestinian on this side, free Palestine. And if you don't say free Palestine, fine. If you say free Israel, fine. I'm not going to smack you. You do you. But clearly you don't know your own religion if you're saying that. That goes for Christians, Muslims, and even Jews. And the real ones will agree with me. Because Orthodox Jews are saying free Palestine. Because Orthodox Jews understand that Zionist Jews do not appreciate their religion. They're trying to speed up their religion.
Yeah.
They're trying to speed it up so they can claim something that was never theirs. They're trying to reoccupy land they already occupied. That's my rant done for the day.
You're good now.
Yeah,
You couldn't help
I
that.
had to say
I
that.
know you couldn't help
I
that.
had to
You
say
were
that,
talking
bro.
about it before we even got here.
I had
earlier
to
this
say
morning.
it. I had to say it, bro. So this episode will probably air 2 weeks after this happened. At this point in time, we don't know what's happening. I'll probably do research now after the show anyway. But free Palestine. And back to the last question so we can wrap up the show. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I do this sometimes. And I'll take all the heat. And the disclaimer at the beginning of the show, like, if you take offense, you shouldn't have watched the show this far, because I did it intentionally at the end of the show. So
Lol.
most people skip it.
Lol.
Here we go.
That's for the people that want to get me in trouble. Cancel me. The question,
Yes.
if you could change anything in the last 3 years, what would it be and why?
I would say, yo, wild. I would say maybe that I would not, for me personally, I would not be so scared to voice my opinion on certain things. Not just political or anything, but from a moral point of view.
Okay.
Because a lot of the time, in many cases, as people like to say that I'm famous, I am not. I just like to make content for the shits and the gigs on TikTok. And people like to have this assumption that I keep myself a duck tongue. And I do, of course. But It's
You
not
like to say,
because
but I do.
I do, of course, but it's not because of fame or followers or anything. It's because I'm an educated person. I have put
You don't
myself.
speak from a place of ignorance.
No, I don't. I try and understand where somebody is coming from, but if you are wrong, you're wrong. And I never used to tell people that they were wrong until I literally turned 24, which was now the other day. And I wish I could have done that earlier in life, because I think that would have given me more opportunity for my own self to broaden my horizons, to broaden my understanding of certain things.
Yeah.
Because I was one of those ignorant people that used to say, oh no, but it's between, let's say for instance, Israel and Palestine, it's between the two of them, it has nothing to do with me. I was one of those people until I educated myself even more to understanding that this is something that's not right. I'm going to speak up about it. The same as if somebody in a classroom or if one of my learners is being bullied, I'm going to speak up for that learner, because they might not have the will to say something, but I do. The same as if I see somebody that's being disrespectful towards me or my partner, especially my partner, I'm going to stand up for him, because I am somebody that's a representation of him. It's a representation of my family, all of that. And if I sit and I allow somebody to walk all over me, that's not me being the true person that I actually am.
Like
That's-
that. So in a
that's fair.
nutshell, basically, if anybody crosses you, they're gonna catch them hands.
Of
Nah.
course.
You're gonna
course.
catch.
What
Yeah,
is
man.
Catch them hands.
You then urge is raising mensen to go try and colonize other lands, my bro.
Oh, yes, when I-
That's
Smack.
funny.
I
You
even
gonna
called my
get
daddy a
smacked.
colonizer at one point, and he just laughed because he's like, it's not him, but it's other
Yeah.
people, yes. But
yeah,
it's,
no,
yeah.
that's fair. I like that, and I think it's important for people to understand that you need to say things that are true. It's stupid to live in delusion, man.
It really is, but it's also important to know something that my dad likes to teach me. It's diplomacy, because sometimes you can say what you want, 100%. You can believe in what you believe in, but sometimes it's not always the place for that thing.
Yeah,
Pick
I
your battles.
Yeah.
I struggle with that.
Oh no, we know you do.
No,
we
of
know
course,
you do.
of course. You know this. He knows this.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that he does better than me. And it's always says because he's a bit older,
Yeah.
right? It's not about knowing your place. It's knowing the place.
Yeah, knowing the place. So the
Exactly.
time and
That- I
place.
know, you
yeah,
pick your
pick your
battles.
battles
Pick your
because.
battles.
I've been telling people their massa for years.
Oh, yeah, we know.
But
that.
as I'm getting older, I'm telling them their massa in a more professional way, in a more effective way. Like, for example, I don't agree with people living in delusion. I call people out on delusion. I believe that biology
Those
is
people
biology.
that say the Lulu is the Salulu, Mika's gonna tell you.
Bro, like, I promise you cannot convince me, you cannot convince me that the sky is green. It is not green. It's not even blue.
100%.
Let's just be honest. But what I can see with my refracted eyes is blue. You can tell me the sky is green on TV. The government can tell me the sky is green. I can see a screen that says the sky is not green. So you just like you can't tell me the sky is green and that global warming exists, you won't be able to tell me what to think. I refuse to allow people, and I'm learning now as I'm getting older to say that in more, less offensive ways. But I also I made a statement a few weeks ago and I said to someone, in a different capacity, I said, like, it's fuck your feelings, bro.
Yeah.
I don't care about your feelings anymore. Like, I'm gonna tell you how it is, and it is what it is.
It's like I have the situation at home where my grandmother stays with us, but she's never like regarded me as a grandchild because I'm colored. So
Oh shit, that's crazy.
yeah, so that is like one of the topics, and she has like this stupid little attitude that she lives in her own bubble and that she's the superior one and this, that, and the other. And like we will always argue with her about something because she can be very rude sometimes. And I tell my mom and my dad, like, sometimes it's pointless. It's gonna go in the one ear and out the other ear. So let her be. Just sometimes you have to let people be because they will come to their own demise at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Just let
he tells
them.
it all the time. Like, I try to wait. The thing is, I
Yeah.
care a lot about people, man. I try
No,
to
I
wake.
don't.
That's the thing. I say I don't
really
care, but I
don't.
care about people, and I want everyone to wake up and smell the fucking coffee. Because
But you
I
can't
also,
But
force that
you
upon
can't
yeah, of
anyone.
course, you
yeah.
can't. And I'm learning that now. Like, recently I had a conversation with someone and I was saying something. They were like, I don't agree with you. And I was like, okay, you don't agree with me. That's fine. But
Yeah.
why? And they couldn't say why. And I was like, yeah, you dumb.
Mm.
And then I realized, like, but it's effortless trying to convince someone to believe something that you know to be true.
Yeah.
You can take a horse to the water, man, bro.
But
That's
you
it.
can't force the horse
That's
to
the
drink
whole
it.
no messenger. So it comes back to that. So like I like that closing point of yours that you we should have spoken more, you know. And obviously now
Yeah.
apply that, do that shit. Like, fuck people,
Oh,
bro.
now I do.
Do
Now,
your things.
like whenever I go somewhere and I don't agree with something, I'm going to call somebody out on it. I don't like I fight with my one lecturer because
So
I just
your
think he's so stupid.
prefrontal, what's it? Your prefrontal cortex is
Yes.
developing now. You're 25 this year.
It's there.
That shit's crazy, you know.
Getting
That click,
strong now.
that click is
Getting
crazy. No?
strong now.
That click is crazy. I
I'm
had
only
that click.
24, like I just turned 24 the other day, but I feel like my brain has like
Nah,
grown exponentially because
Wait, this makes sense. This
Yo.
makes sense.
No?
The sun thing. The sun thing. The thing we
Sun
spoke about.
thing.
So you just turned 24,
yeah,
right?
Oh, but you are in your 25th year
Year of
of
loving.
I know.
That's the thing.
That I had this conversation with my lecturer. Shout out to Shabir, he's one of the best lecturers
Shout
ever.
out.
He
Not
really
Shabir
is.
Sheikh. Just
No,
Shabir.
Shabir Raoud, you are the goat.
Shabs.
He's the goat. He's my
Bravo.
maths lecturer. He's the only reason why I love maths. But he said, how do you justify that when your mother becomes pregnant or whoever becomes pregnant, you can't tell me.
Your mother.
Yeah, you can't tell me that child, when they come out, isn't already 9 months old. They've already been alive for a certain amount of time. And it takes a full year to get to their first birthday. But how old are they actually? Because they've been alive for a certain amount of time. They just haven't been out of their house.
That makes
Basically,
sense
they've been
now.
evicted.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You see?
Yeah.
So he also had the same argument. He's like, are you actually, like, this was before I turned 24. He was like, are you actually 23 or are you actually 24? Then I looked at him like, yo, that is profound.
So when you turn 24, you completed 24
Four
years
cycles.
of life.
Exactly.
And then you are in your 25th year. This
Yes.
is actually an argument that I had with my wife because she's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no?
It's
What do you mean
Exactly.
no?
You
It's
turned
fact.
24. You just finished your last year. Basically,
You
as a
finished the
23 year
year
old. Yeah.
24.
Yeah.
And now you are 25.
Yeah.
You're
It's
in
just
your
the way you
25th
count
year
it that's
of living.
differently.
Yes.
And at the same time, let me just put it into perspective now. So Muslims, we have this thing called the Hijri calendar. On the Hijri calendar, if you Google your age, it'll always be 2 years older than your Gregorian age. So think about it like this: that 9 months that you were alive inside your mom's womb, that and a little bit equals 2 years.
So I'm like 26. Crazy.
Like according to the Hijri calendar, I'm 26, turning 27,
Uh,
right? But the crazy thing about it, at the same time, like your brain
Well, according to the
development.
Asian calendar, I'm like 50 right now.
No.
damn.
Yeah. Okay, there's also a scientific study that says for every kid you have, you're 10 years older, 5 to 10 years older, your body's genome. So, yeah,
Oh,
I'm
wild.
having my third child now, so I'm about to be.
You need to get a cane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Opa.
shame.
So the crazy thing about it is you're in your 25th year. So what does that mean? Your brain and your prefrontal cortex could be settling now and
It
starting.
could be, yeah.
Like when I hit, like I'm 25 this year now. Like and it's like fuck, bro. Like I'm just like.
You said this the other day, with like you don't feel like the way you used to when you were like younger,
Bruh,
when you were
nothing excites
teenager,
me, bruh.
but you're just so tired. Like,
Kijk,
yo,
like
you feel drained, not mentally, but just like,
Kijk hier, what
You
do
wanna
we
take a
always
nap,
say?
man.
Bruh, bleep last night.
Yep.
You don't sleep. You sleep, but you don't sleep. And
Yeah.
it's like you're not unproductive and like sore from being tired. But it's just like sleep's not gonna fix this tired.
it's really not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's what people don't like. You
and
tell
you always
people,
tell me it gets worse every year. No?
yo.
That's he's been over 25 now for a long time.
And I wonder how my daddy feels, yo.
That's my trip, no?
And my daddy's old. He's turning 65.
Oh,
I
bruh.
think. I don't know.
Somewhere is 60 plus.
Somewhere, like I know my brother is like 43 or something like that. Yeah, I have siblings, by the way. Yes.
Yeah, that was fun. Look, it's
Yeah.
been an hour and 42 minutes.
Yo. Okay,
Shit,
yeah.
Rick, it's been a while. Emo has a lot of work. Sorry, Emo. Angie, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you for having me. Thank
we will
you.
put all your stuff below the
Yeah.
description here. Your TikTok, your Instagram.
So she
Your
can become more
photography.
famous.
Yeah, and if you,
Oh,
if
wild.
you need your wedding photos taken, please. She
I
does a
take
very
nice
good.
wedding photos.
She
guys.
does. She does a very
I
good
try.
job. I quit photography because she was better than me. Yeah,
Sorry, man, I
so-
can't help it.
Yeah, and it's fine. I got married and had children, so that's where I. Good.
Different
That's
path.
where I want to be one day.
I'm good at that. I'm good at having children. And number 3, hat-trick. My
Congratulations.
third one in 4 years.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming out. Everyone, thank you for being here. We will see you in a little bit. I don't know when. Can't remember timeline right now. But if you like this content, do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. We will see you next time on the Opinion 2.0. We are out. Save the gates. Peace.